Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Please like the stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, Irene. How are you? I'm great. All right, gonna get started in a second. Hi, everyone. How are you? All right, so who's in here, guys? I'll get started once I know who's in here. How's your day going, guys? It is going. That sounds so pessimistic. That sounds so like down and pessimistic. All right, I'm gonna get started, guys, for my people that are into law of assumption or wanting to learn. So I wanted to start with the ground. So yesterday I did explain what law of assumption is and manifestation. So today I will be talking about your identity, right? Something a lot of people skip and they refuse to do, I guess, because a lot of people say you don't need self concept to manifest, which I feel like you don't. But I will say doing self concept helps, and especially if you have like limiting beliefs, doubts, you don't trust yourself, um So your identity is your foundation, which will be your self concept, your self love, your power. That's your identity, right? So in law of assumption, identity is everything. It is the foundation of your reality, because who you believe you are determines what you assume you deserve, how you're treated, and what manifests in your life. So what is identity in the law of assumption? Your identity is the state of being, is the state of being you dwell in. Again, it's your self concept, the self concept that you hold as true. It's not about what's currently happening in the 3D, but what you internally accept as your truth. So, if you want to manifest love, money, success, health, you must embody the version of you who already has it. Your identity equals your dominant assumptions, right? So, again, your identity is shaped by what you consistently think, feel, and say about yourself. So if you're constantly saying I'm always overlooked, you manifest being ignored, whether it's work, whether it's with a person, whether it's with a lover, whether it's with like a partner, whether it's with family, friends, coworkers. These are your almost like your core, right? Which, like I said, is your foundation. Um, Another example, I'm deeply loved and chosen, right? If you feel like if you identify as someone who is deeply loved and chosen, prioritized, valued, right? You manifest being adored and prioritized. If you are constantly like things never work out for me, then guess what? Chaos in your life, right? So when people sometimes will be like, well, I don't know what story. I was never, people will say, I was not saying a story about this person. Why did they show up this way? It's not about the person or even the story you're saying about that person. Sometimes it is, most times it is, but a lot of times is your beliefs and your self concept. So if you have a belief that, well, people never stay, or you have a self concept that, well, men are cheaters, or you know what, money is so hard for me to get, like I've never had my dream job, or things are so, life is so hard, it's going to show up in different ways, and it may not show up in exactly that category, but life will basically, how they say, life will show you, but it's you, is your assumption, right? This is why I say, like, being mindful of how you speak, right? Being mindful of how you're thinking. If you're constantly being optimistic, then guess what, great things are going to happen. Like I said, your self concept, do people need self, this is how I look at self concept. It's a good thing to have just so that you have it, right? You're feeling powerful. And self concept could be a lot of different things, right? It could be a lot of different things. So, like, some people may have a great self concept when it comes to partners, right? They've never been with a cheater. They've never, they've been married, whatever the case is, right? Or so they have a good self concept when it comes to love, but they may have a bad self concept when it comes to money. So, only you know what your basically your core beliefs are and what your self concept should be. Um, so being mindful of how you identify, basically. So identity shifts, right? How to step into a new version of yourself. You choose a new self concept, right? You decide who you are now, right? So where I'm using SP right now, but this could be for anything. So if you decide that you're gonna affirm, I'm a woman who's deeply loved, pursued, and prioritized, right? Or I'm a powerful creator, everything always goes in my favor. That's a power. So the first one was more love, but it's related to who you are, right? Because again, how you identify, your core identify, like how you identify is what you're gonna see, right? So again, if you're always deeply loved, if you're pursued, if you're prioritized, that could be with friends, family, coworkers, your lover, your partner, whoever, right? I'm a powerful creator, everything always goes in my favor. That is a power affirmation. So basically, like, you're letting it be known that you're the powerful creator, and no matter what, things are going in your favor, right? And repetition, that's something I will talk about another time. This is about identity. So one, again, choose a new self concept. Two, assume that identity as a fact, right? Even if the 3D says otherwise, you persist in it, right? That identity is about eternal truth, not external validation, right? Again, we know that repetition is what creates. So the more you identify as this person, the more you affirm it, the more you tell yourself this, the more you act as if you're this, you will start to see that, right, in your 3D. Next is Okay, here's where we're going. Saturate your mind. Repeat your affirmations, visualize, script, speak like her, think like her or him, whatever. Just again, you decide your identity, right? So you decide if you want to be sad. I know that there's things that happen, but I do feel like some people like to stay in victimhood or a victim mindset. If something happens, you know what, you got to get to a point that you dust your shoulders off and keep it moving, right? So you're gonna decide what your self concept is, and every day you have to decide this, and throughout the day you have to decide this. You cannot go back and forth, and 1 minute is um I'm never chosen. Then the next minute is I'm chosen. You got to stick to the script, right? Your new script. And then be that version consistently. Exactly what I was saying. Don't wait to see it before you believe it. So in this case, it's like fake it till you make it, basically. And become it internally, and the 3D will conform. The 3D has no choice but to conform. So remember that, guys. So now this is an example relationship identity shift. Your old identity is I'm always too much. I get attached too fast. Men always pull away from me, or men pull away from me, men do not prioritize me, or men don't ever commit, right? Your new identity would be something like this. Does not have to be, but just an example. I am irresistible, cherished, and deeply adored. My man feels safe, lucky, and grateful to love me. Um, sorry. So again, your identity is everything. Do I feel like you need self-concept to manifest? No. But do I feel like it's something that you should work on? Yes. Regardless, why not? Unless you're somebody that knows 1000% that everything's gonna work out, then that's a little bit different. But this is why some people can manifest money overnight, or their specific person overnight, or they can manifest like a lot of little things overnight because they have such a strong self-concept around these things, right? Why they can like I said, money overnight, where then you have people that they go through a struggle, or they go through a long waiting period, or I wouldn't even say waiting, but where they're doing a lot of work. But I feel like if you at least work on the foundation, which is your identity, then everything becomes a lot easier. um I'm trying to see if I have anything else on this. um so yeah, just as like just go summarize that. um Again, identity is your inner state of being. It's the version of you that you consistently assume yourself to be. It includes your self concept, who you believe you are, your core beliefs about life, love, success, and relationships, the story you tell yourself subconsciously every day. Um, One thing that I've heard many years ago, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And I heard that way before I even knew about law of assumption. And that kind of goes with this, right? When you say I'm loved, I'm chosen, I'm abundant, you're not just saying affirmations, you're choosing an identity, right? A state and a dwelling and dwelling in it. Your outer world must reflect it because consciousness is the only reality. So it's like scientifically, and I've talked about this a lot, even scientifically, repetition, the more you repeat something, your brain is eventually going to open up a new neural pathway. And then what happens with that is it has no choice but to prove to you. So if you're constantly being pessimistic, if you're constantly saying life sucks, if you're constantly saying like things never work out for me, you're gonna see that reflected back to you. So you want to change that story. um Again, identity is a state, not a label. And I know initially it's gonna feel like I'm just saying words, because that's what affirmations are. They're just words. They're just sentences you're replacing your old thoughts and patterns with, right? So you're gonna feel maybe like it's just words, but I promise you, the more you focus on that state, because it's not just about repetition, right? Because you could be doing repetition all day long. You could do it. I've done it, and I tell you, I haven't seen it. When I'm in that state where I'm not. So for me, is repetition, your awareness, how you're perceiving things, and how you're identifying, right? So if you could affirm all day, but if you're still in awareness of what the 3D is not showing you, or if you're talking bad to your friends about shit, and you're constantly talking negative, and you're constantly being overlooking yourself, because everything is you, nothing exists outside of you. The only reason why people exist in your reality is because of you. um so just remember that, right? So again, identity is a state, not a label. And again, like I said, at first it's gonna feel like you're just saying sentences to yourself, but the more you do this and the more you get into that energy of feeling like that person or being that person, the more you will be in that state, okay? The more it'll feel natural is what I should say. Um so these are states of consciousness. You can move from one to another at will. You're not locked into your past, your mistakes, or your current reality. You're not an anxious person. You're just in a state of anxiety. Shift the state, shift the experience, right? So like me, I was diagnosed 2 or 3 years ago with anxious attachment, and I feel like I carried that label for a long time. And then I was like, F that. I'm not anxious. I don't have no anxious attachment. I don't have attachment issues because I never really experienced it, but I mean that came out, right? I stopped identifying as having anxiety. I don't have that anymore. I stopped identifying as having panic attacks. I haven't had a panic attack in years. So how you identify is what you're going to be, is your state. So your old state will be something like I'm insecure. Your new state, your new identity is I'm magnetic and confident. Um an old state, I'm unchosen. Your new state will be I'm always desired and prioritized. An old state, example, I have to prove my worth. Your new state should be something like I am the prize, naturally worthy. So the core rule, the 3D reflects your assumed identity. Your world is a mirror, right? It doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your dominant self perception, the identity you embody, even when no one's watching. So if you're manifesting love, but your identity is, I always get left, men always change on me, I don't feel enough, or I'm not good enough, then you'll see that reflected back until you shift it internally. So identity embodiment, right? Embodying the end. So you don't become her after you get the thing, you become her now. Again, this is what I like to say, fake it till you make it, basically, right? Um and the thing is drawn to you, right? So you become her now, her, him. I use her a lot because I'm a her. But him too, if you're here, if there's a him here, the thing is drawn to you, right? So steps, right? One, choose her, choose your new identity. Who is the version of you that has the love, the success, the lifestyle, right? You start thinking like her. What are her dominant thoughts? How does she respond to triggers? Okay. Three, feel like her. What energy does she move in? Is it calm? Is it confident? Is it soft? Is it radiant? Or is it chaotic? You speak like her, not just affirmations, but how she talks to herself when no one's around, right? And you act like her. You don't chase, you embody. You don't react, you create, okay? So these are some quick identity affirmations, well, examples that you guys can use if you want. Um, so one, I'm the version of me who is always loved, chosen, and valued. I identify as the woman who naturally receives the best in life. I am living my dream life. I don't chase, I magnetize. I am the embodiment of what I desire. I'm always chosen, worthy, loved, and prioritized. I'm successful, healthy, and wealthy. Um, I'm trying to think of another one. Um, everybody loves everybody loves and adores me. Um, I'm irreplaceable. Uh, I'm trying to think of anything else. Those are some examples. I do have an affirmation. I have an affirmation list, which is like there's some really good affirmations on there. So if you guys are interested, let me know. All my information for coaching and stuff is in the description. And then this is final reminder. I'm gonna get off soon. If anyone has questions, let me know. Your identity is not set in stone. You created it, right? And you can recreate it at will. So, however you've been living up until now, this is not your end all be all unless you decide it is, right? I always tell people this. It's you. It has nothing to do with anyone outside of you. And if you're waiting to feel good or you're waiting to receive something to feel good, you're going to keep waiting. Okay? um the identity that aligns with your desired reality already exists within you. Your job is to remember her, assume her, and stay in that state. So that is my final reminder. Again, there my coaching information is in the description. I do have a core belief affirmation list, which me and my members have been using, and it's been doing some good stuff for us. I do have an affirmation list also, which that one has, I think it's like 50 or more affirmations in different categories. It has like power, self concept, self love, money, career, SP related, um, body. Um, I can't think of what else. I don't have it in front of me. But if you guys are interested, just let me know because I can send those. Just email me, send payment, and email me. And again, have a good day. Bye.